I'm Kurtop, and these are 100 discoveries that connect ancient civilizations with aliens. What was found inside the alien mummies? Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan made a sensational statement about the alien mummies found in Peru. According to him, rare metals from alloys were found inside these bodies, which could have served as devices for intergalactic communication. One of these metals is osmium, a rare and very expensive element used in telecommunications and space technologies. However, it is also known for its toxicity and danger to humans. Maussan suggests that the discovered devices could have been something like mobile phones, which were used by aliens for communication. It could be a communication device, although no one knows how it works yet. The osmium that was discovered is particularly surprising. This metal is not only hard to find, but it's also deadly. If someone wanted to create a fake, why would they put such a rare and toxic metal inside? Currently, the bodies of the aliens are being studied in laboratories, but many scientists are skeptical about these findings. In their opinion, the mummies could have been assembled from parts of different animals. A computer that is 2,500 years old. The Aegean Sea, April 1900. Just 100 meters off the coast of a small island, divers discovered the site of an ancient shipwreck at a depth of 45 meters. For 2 years, researchers and archaeologists studied the wreckage, among which was a metal box encrusted with coral and created in the 2nd century BC. This device is the first mechanical computer ever discovered by mankind. The mechanism is 1,500 years older than any similar artifact and contains dozens of gears that control the device. It is believed that the analog computer could have been used to predict astronomical events. Ancient Greece, as it turns out, had knowledge of mechanics and could create such a device, which I think changes our perception of history. It is believed that the ships set sail from the shores of the island of Rhodes, since this place was considered a haven of advanced technology at that time. The poets of ancient Greece repeatedly mentioned in their works living statues, capable of freezing in place or starting to move, as if life had been breathed into them. It is quite possible that this was not just a literary device, but the first prototypes of robots created by humans. The Greeks claimed that they received knowledge from gods who descended to them from the heavens. It is possible that in this way, they explained encounters with aliens who decided to share their technologies with humanity. The metal objects from Gaia's La Manna cave in Ecuador have attracted the attention of not only archaeologists, but also enthusiasts of mysticism and ufology for many years. The story of the discovery of metal objects in these caves is shrouded in mystery and mysticism. According to legends, metal plates were discovered in La Manna, engraved with symbols resembling modern diagrams, maps, and technical drawings. These discoveries became the basis for hypotheses about the existence of an unknown civilization in the distant past that possessed highly advanced technologies, or about contacts between ancient people and extraterrestrial beings. Supporters of these theories claim that such complex, detailed symbols could not have been created with primitive tools and must indicate more advanced knowledge. Some researchers even suggest that the plates could have served as star maps or technological devices.
Инструкциями, оставленными инопланетянами.
However, most scientists are quite skeptical about these findings. There is no convincing evidence that the metal objects from La Manna actually date back to ancient times. Some experts point to possible traces of modern metalworking and the inconsistency of these artifacts with the styles and technologies known in ancient Ecuador. Moreover, there are no reliable datings or contexts for the discovery of these items, which further undermines their significance. Archaeologists believe that these artifacts may have been created in a later period, possibly as part of a hoax or to attract tourists. Thus, despite the fascinating and mysterious story of the metal objects from the La Manna caves, their origin and significance remain in question. The story of the La Manna caves is an example of how myths and legends can intertwine with reality, creating fascinating but often unreliable accounts of our past. The durability of ancient Roman concrete. The ancient Romans were true masters of construction. They built numerous roads, aqueducts, ports, and massive buildings. Many of these structures still stand today, even though several millennia have passed. Scientists have uncovered the secret behind the durability of Roman concrete. It was used in the construction of the famous Pantheon and many other buildings. The unique feature of this concrete is volcanic ash, which was sourced from the area around the Bay of Naples. Roman builders actively used this ash in their construction projects. Scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology studied ancient concrete and discovered white mineral elements in it, lime. These small particles gave the concrete a unique self-healing ability. When cracks appeared in the concrete, it would react with water and seal those cracks on its own. Scientists believe that such a secret ingredient could help us make modern concrete stronger and more durable. This will help reduce the environmental impact of cement production, since it currently accounts for about 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So thanks to science and the secrets of the ancient Romans, we'll be able to create even more sustainable and eco-friendly structures in the future. The full-figured woman from Saliagos. The full-figured woman from Saliagos is a unique testament to the ancient culture that flourished in the Cycladic Islands during the Neolithic era. Its discovery has revealed many secrets about the lifestyle, religious practices, and artistic traditions of this ancient society. Saliagos, despite its small size, played a key role in the early history of the Aegean region. In addition to its role as a connecting isthmus between Antiparos and Paros, it was a center of production and trade, as evidenced by the findings of obsidian tools that exceeded local needs. The ceramic vases discovered on the island provide insight into the design and style of the era. Their patterns and shapes reflect a creative approach that may have had religious or cultural significance for the inhabitants of Saliagos. Overall, the discovery on Saliagos provides invaluable information about the ancient world of the Aegean region. A couple from Switzerland discovered a strange humanoid head with large eyes and a long neck on the riverbank. Photos of the find were posted on Reddit with the caption, "Found an alien creature's head in the river." This post gathered more than 61,000 likes and numerous comments. Although the head really looks like an alien, it was later revealed that this sculpture was made by students many years ago. One of them used silicone molds to create concrete sculptures and covered it with fluorescent paint. When the students moved out, the sculpture was lost or thrown into the river. Has the first battle with the aliens already taken place? On August 26, 1946, an American scientific expedition set out for the South Pole. It was led by naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, who had participated in World War I. The expedition involved 13 ships, 33 airplanes, and nearly 5,000 U.S. Navy personnel. The group under the Admiral's command returned only after 9 months, reporting that they had to engage in combat with remnants of the Third Reich and possibly extraterrestrials. Flying objects attacked the members of the expedition and inflicted significant damage on the American group. Byrd stated in his report that he saw an unidentified device capable of moving at incredible speed, almost instantly changing its position. At that time, the Admiral's statements, despite his high status, seemed like fiction. However, in 2018, a satellite image made it possible to see a contrail left by something moving at incredible speed. The trail stretched across the entire Earth, connecting the South and North Poles, which is about 20,000 kilometers. The maximum duration for the trail and its shape to remain is 30 minutes, with most of it starting to dissipate after just 15 minutes. Based on the data obtained, it can be said that the object that left the contrail was moving at a speed of at least 80,000 kilometers per hour, which is 10 times faster than the fastest airplane that existed at that time. The most outstanding discovery of the year. During excavations near the German city of Retz, scientists came across a unique brooch dating back to the 7th century. This exquisite piece of jewelry, made of gilded silver and inlaid with red almandine garnets, is considered one of the most significant finds of 2024. According to archaeologist Detlef Janssen, the brooch could have belonged to members of the elite, since such items are most often found in richly furnished burial complexes. The luxurious cloisonné enamel technique used to set the precious stones created intricate geometric patterns reminiscent of intertwined snakes. The thinnest layer of gold at the base enhances the depth of color of the garnets, and the oval shape of the brooch gives it a special elegance. It is believed that the piece of jewelry dates back to the migration period of the 4th to 6th centuries, when large-scale migrations fundamentally changed the political and cultural map of Europe. Namali figurines. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the African continent is the Namali figurines, found in Sierra Leone in West Africa. These ancient sculptures carved from stone depict strange creatures with disproportionately large heads, bulging eyes, and other unusual features that are not characteristic of human anatomy. Some of them even depict scenes that can be interpreted as mythological or religious. The unique shapes and features of these figurines have attracted the attention not only of archaeologists, but also of proponents of ancient astronaut theories. Some researchers believe that the Namali figurines may represent images of extraterrestrial beings with whom the ancient inhabitants of the region may have had contact. In their opinion, the strange proportions and features of the figurines may indicate that they were modeled after real extraterrestrial beings. Although this theory lacks scientific evidence, it adds an aura of mystery to the Namali figurines and attracts the attention of ufologists and fans of mysticism. Official science regards the Namali figurines as religious or ritual astronomers, and they believe that these artifacts were most likely used in ancient ceremonies or rituals related to the worship of gods or spirits, as they could have symbolized certain mythological figures. As I have told you before, when archaeologists or historians cannot explain the origin of an artifact, it inevitably becomes an object of religious significance. Interestingly, Namali figurines are often found deep in the ground, sometimes together with other ancient artifacts, various iron objects, or weapons, which makes it more difficult to date them and determine their cultural context. Some findings suggest that these artifacts may have existed in very ancient times, possibly long before the emergence of known civilizations in this region. The discovery of the Sirius star. The Dogon tribe living in Malay, Africa, has long attracted the attention of researchers and anthropologists because of their unique and ancient knowledge about the Sirius star. This knowledge is astonishing in its accuracy. The Dogon claim that Sirius is not just a bright star visible to the naked eye, but that it also has a companion, Sirius B, which is invisible without special instruments, and was only discovered by Western scientists in 1862. According to Dogon mythology, their ancestors received this knowledge from mysterious beings whom they call Nomo. According to legend, these beings arrived on Earth from Sirius and taught the Dogon astronomy, agriculture, and other important fields. The information the Dogon preserve about Sirius is astonishing in its accuracy. They knew that Sirius B is a small and extremely dense star, which is amazing for people who had no access to modern astronomical instruments. This knowledge has led to many theories about possible Dogon contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Paleo-contact theory supporters believe the ancient Dogon could only have gained such precise space knowledge from an advanced extraterrestrial race. Some anthropologists and historians believe that the Dogon's knowledge could have been acquired not from mythical beings, but from European missionaries and researchers who visited Africa in the past. There is a theory that the Dogon could have learned about Sirius B through interactions with scientists in the 19th or early 20th century, and then integrated this information into their myths and legends. Not long ago, news once again spread on social media that the legendary golden horse of King Mithridates Eupator was allegedly found near Anapa, Russia. It is noteworthy that similar reports had already appeared in 2021, turning out to be an April Fool's joke. Now, however, the excavations taking place in the area of the village of Anapskaya have once again sparked discussions about this story. During rescue operations at the site of a future kindergarten, archaeologists discovered a burial ground about 2,000 years old. In one of the graves, they found not only human remains, but also those of a horse. In others, there were horse skeletons, glass and ceramic vessels, various beads, as well as weapons and harnesses. The items, including beads made of amber, carnelian, and faience, indicate the local tribe's connections with the ancient world. Among the finds, they noted a scarab, a symbol of rebirth for the ancient Egyptians. Particular interest was aroused by glass vessels, which became widespread throughout the periphery of the Roman Empire, thanks to the improvement of glass-blowing techniques. Despite the excitement, there is no direct evidence that this is actually Mithridates' golden horse. Scientists emphasize that legends can easily grow, and the rich burial of a noble person may well acquire fantastic features over time. The eerie harp, over 3,000 years old, is a unique artifact from ancient Egypt kept in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum. This exquisite musical instrument dates back to 1390 to 1295 BC, which corresponds to the period of the New Kingdom's rule. The harp is made of wood and is 82 centimeters long. Its neck is topped with a sculpted image of a Nubian prisoner's head. This is not just a decorative element, but a symbolic image, probably related to the triumph of the Egyptians in military campaigns. The harp's strings, visually connecting the prisoner's head, may be a metaphor for subjugation. The object's preservation is impressive, considering its age. Such instruments were used not only for entertainment purposes, but also in ritual ceremonies, which highlights their significance in the culture of ancient Egypt. Antenna on the seafloor. In 1964, the research vessel USNS Eltanin was studying the depths of the Southern Ocean and accidentally took a photo of something mysterious. At a depth of 3,900 meters, the camera captured an object resembling a radio antenna. What is it? Another lost signal from aliens? The news quickly spread through the newspapers, and everyone decided it was proof of extraterrestrial intelligence. But it turned out not to be so simple. After some time, scientists found out that it wasn't alien technology. In fact, it was a deep-sea sponge, which really did look like an antenna from a distance. As it turned out, nature also has its own design style. The Wolfsegg artifact. In 1885, a worker named Rael Beck discovered a mysterious artifact about 60 million years old, known as the Wolfsegg iron. He found it in a block of brown coal at a foundry in Austria. This metallic object, embedded in the coal, caused great astonishment among the worker and his colleagues. They handed the find over to the local museum. In 1886, Professor of Geology Adolf Gerlt suggested that the artifact had come from space. However, further research showed that the artifact does not contain nickel, chromium, or cobalt, which rules out a meteoritic origin. In 1973, an analysis conducted by Dr. Hubert Matlehner showed that the artifact was made using the lost wax casting method, which suggests it was created artificially. The artifact is almost cubic in shape, measuring 67 by 47 millimeters and weighing 785 grams, made of solid steel. Its edges were sharp and straight, indicating its machine-made origin. Some experts believe it was a fragment of a much larger tool. This discovery gave rise to the theory of the existence of an ancient advanced civilization on Earth millions of years ago. And although many thought it had disappeared, the artifact is still kept at the Heimathaus Museum in Vöcklabruck, but it is no longer on public display. Monolith in the middle of the desert. In November 2020, in the Red Rock Desert, in southern Utah, a helicopter crew and biologists were conducting cattle counts when they suddenly noticed something astonishing. As they approached the mysterious object, they discovered a large, shiny, silver item located in a canyon, inaccessible to people. The Utah authorities tried to keep the discovery a secret, but soon information about it leaked onto social media. People, amazed by the object, called it the Utah monolith, left behind by aliens. The mysterious metal monument, which appeared in the middle of the desert, captured the imaginations of people who believe in the existence of more intelligent civilizations living on other planets. It was assumed that this monolith was left by an alien spacecraft so that they could have a way to contact us. Many were convinced that the monolith was built from alien construction materials. The material has unique properties not found in nature on our planet. A composite of metal and ceramic is capable of absorbing radar waves. It is known that a similar alloy may be used in alien ships that possess anti-gravity properties. Some are convinced that the U.S. government not only knows about these materials, but also uses the remains of alien ships to create next-generation weapons. Experts thoroughly examined the monolith to determine the type of metal and also tried to find cavities in the mysterious object. Despite all the theories and discussions on social media, scientists are convinced that the monolith was created by humans and was possibly placed in the canyon simply to serve as a manifestation of artistic beauty. The mystery of the Antarctic monolith. In 2020, in a remote part of Antarctica, at a depth of more than 2 kilometers, researchers discovered a mysterious object that was named the Antarctic monolith. This object, a rectangular stone slab about 3 meters high and 1.5 meters wide, was found using an ice-penetrating radar used to map the landscape beneath the ice sheet. The strangest part began when scientists started studying the monolith. The surface of the stone was covered with intricate geometric patterns and petroglyphs that were strangely similar to ancient symbols. The stones were discovered in different parts of the world, including South America, Africa, and Asia. Analysis of the material showed that the stone has no analogs among the known rocks of Antarctica. This means that it came there from another place. In addition, the monolith had unusual magnetic properties. Instruments detected a weak but constant magnetic field around it. Charred remains of organic materials were found near the monolith, which, according to scientists, could have been ancient plants or even the remains of living creatures. These organic materials, encased in ice, could provide unique data about the ancient ecosystem of Antarctica when it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Some researchers suggest that this could be evidence of a highly developed civilization that existed long before the appearance of humans. Others claim that this is potential evidence of contact with extraterrestrial beings. The oldest book in Europe. In January 1960, during excavations near the village of Usalonik, Greek archaeologists discovered an ancient papyrus in the funeral pyre of a noble Macedonian. This scroll, dated to approximately 340-320 BC, was the first ever found in mainland Greece. Since the manuscript is of a literary nature, UNESCO recognized it as the oldest known book in Europe. The discovered scroll was named the Derveni Papyrus, after the place where it was found. It contains reflections on religious rituals related to the fate of the soul after death, as well as discussions about a lost poetic text attributed to the legendary Orpheus, the singer and musician from Greek myths. Researchers believe that the unknown author belonged to the circle of followers of the philosopher Anaxagoras and wrote for the adepts of Orphism, a special religious movement, presumably monotheistic, and focused on the purification of the soul. The fire from the funeral pyre preserved papyrus fragments from damp soil, but also seriously damaged them. Scientists managed to extract about 266 charred pieces and later assembled them into 26 columns of text without the lower halves of the lines. A full publication of the deciphered manuscript appeared only half a century later. A tomb with unique frescoes. In a small Tang Dynasty tomb in northern China, amazing frescoes were found depicting everyday life in the 8th century. The frescoes, dated to the year 736, cover all the walls of the tomb except the floor and depict scenes from the life of the dynasty. The tomb belonged to a man who died at the age of 63. The paintings are done in the Tang Dynasty style, using strong outlines and simple shading. They mostly appear two-dimensional. This style, called Figures Under the Tree, was popular in Taiwan, the capital of Shanxi province. The frescoes also decorate the gates, corridor, and pedestal of the tomb. On the outside of the gates, guards are depicted. The frescoes do not portray well-known historical periods or important figures. In one scene, people are performing everyday tasks such as grinding grain or drawing water from a well. In another, a woman with horses and a man with a whip are depicted, presumably from the Nihan ethnic group. The figures in the frescoes resemble the same man and woman, which leads archaeologists to believe that they were the owners of the tomb. Shiva Lingam. In the city of Sirsi in India, there is a unique pilgrimage site called Sahasra Linga. Here, among the natural beauty, there are stone images of Shiva Lingam, which are especially impressive during the Maha Shivaratri festival. At this time, The water level in the river drops, making the sculptures visible and attracting thousands of pilgrims and tourists who wish to see and worship the sacred lingams. Shiva Lingam is a symbol of Shiva, one of the main deities in Hinduism, representing the source of creation and destruction. Interestingly, there are not only religious but also scientific debates surrounding the Shiva Lingam. Some proponents of the ancient astronaut theory claim that the Shiva Lingam could represent a powerful technological device, similar in function to a modern nuclear reactor. Based on the shape and properties of the lingam, they suggest that ancient people might have used advanced technologies. On the other hand, modern scientists may interpret the Shiva Lingam as a symbol of atomic energy, which also has the potential for both great benefit and destruction. This analogy highlights the dual nature of Shiva, who in tradition is both a creator and a destroyer. Our world is created by artificial intelligence. Professor Melvin Vobson from Portsmouth University has put forward the theory that we live in a computer simulation, and evidence of this can be found in the Bible. Vobson claims that the text of the Gospel of John supports this idea and suggests that our reality is created by artificial intelligence. The Gospel begins with the words, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word."
Бога, и Слово было Бог.
Vobson believes that the Word is code that controls the simulation. According to him, this code is at the foundation of everything that exists. In this concept, God is not a separate entity, but a part of the simulation, possibly an advanced AI controlling our universe. Another quote from the Gospel that Vobson refers to goes like this: "Everything came into being through him, and without him nothing could exist that has come into being." The scientist believes that this also supports his hypothesis that the world was created through the word code. The act of creation can be seen as a programming process, as a result of which a simulated universe was created. The simulation theory can also explain how God was able to create the world in 6 days, as described in the Bible. If we imagine our world as a product of AI, then the simulation can be launched very quickly. Thus, Vobson believes that his theory does not contradict religious views, but on the contrary, gives them a modern explanation. The scientist also points to the physical limitations that exist in our reality as possible signs of a simulation. For example, the limitations on the speed of light and sound may be the result of a processor that controls the simulation. The laws of physics that govern the universe resemble complex algorithms, and elementary particles can be compared to pixels on a screen. Another piece of evidence, according to Vobson, is the symmetry present in nature, the patterns of snowflakes, butterflies, and other objects. He believes that this could be a way to save resources used in the simulation to create the world. The simulation theory is supported not only by Vobson, but also by other well-known figures. Elon Musk, for example, claims that the probability that we are living in base reality is extremely small, almost 1 in billions. He claims that our reality is most likely one of many simulations created by a more advanced civilization. Thus, the simulation theory offers a new perspective on the nature of the universe and humanity's place in it. The petrified bullet. In Crimea, a mysterious bullet estimated to be 2,200 years old was found inside a stone. Yes, you heard that right, a bullet. At that time, firearms and gunpowder did not yet exist. Researchers discovered it when the stone split open. How did a bullet end up inside an ancient stone? This discovery could change all of history. Could it be that a bullet from the future ended up in the past and lay in the ground for several millennia? In any case, the artifact is shrouded in mystery, and we can only guess what really happened. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Alaskan Triangle, a secret alien base? The Alaskan Triangle is a sparsely populated area located between Juneau, Anchorage, and the small town of Barrow. According to official data, since 1970, more than 20,000 people have disappeared in this counterpart to the Bermuda Triangle. Researchers claim there is strange paranormal activity, and some are convinced that aliens live here, having set up secret underground bases. While being close to people, the aliens can spy on military technologies, as suggested by a series of strange events and the increase in UFO sightings after World War II. The disappearance of 44 servicemen from a Douglas C-54 aircraft may only confirm this assumption, since search and rescue operations yielded no results. It may seem that all of this is groundless speculation, but in 1995, declassified documents revealed that the highest point of the Alaskan Triangle, Mount Hayes, is mentioned in a top-secret government project called Stargate. The documents not only mention aliens, but also claim that there was a base beneath the mountain. Physically, no person has ever been there, but the CIA used an experimental research technique called remote viewing. The method of psychic projection allowed people with supernatural abilities to look into any place without physically leaving the CIA buildings. While working on the project, the most outstanding psychic was named Pat Price. He was the first to confirm the presence of aliens hiding deep under a mountain in the middle of Alaska. The psychic's predictions were astonishingly accurate, as were his drawings of what was under Mount Hayes. The alien base had a clear structure consisting of tunnels, and CIA agents knew about it. Soon after what he saw, Pat began to fear for his life, telling his loved ones that he had put himself in danger. Unfortunately, the psychic turned out to be right, because in a Las Vegas hotel he was accidentally pushed. The sharp pain in his leg didn't cause concern, but the next morning, the man died. Equally astonishing is that the hospital did not notify the relatives about what happened, but simply cremated the body. The Fuente Magna Bowl, a mysterious artifact found near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, also attracted archaeologists with its unusual depiction. The bowl, named Fuente Magna, is a large stone vessel with unusual inscriptions on its surface. These inscriptions amazed researchers with their resemblance to Sumerian cuneiform, one of the oldest writing systems that originated in Mesopotamia. The unusual nature of the inscription gave rise to a theory about possible contacts between the ancient cultures of Mesopotamia and South America. Supporters of this hypothesis claim that the cup may serve as evidence of unknown migration routes or even ancient sea voyages that connected these distant regions. However, skeptics point to the high likelihood of forgery. They argue that the cup could have been created in a later period, possibly even in modern times, with the intention of causing a sensation. About 100 to 150 years ago, it was very popular around the world to create such objects to attract people to fairs and make money off gullible citizens. Despite this, the exact origin and meaning of the Fuente Magna Bowl remain unknown. It continues to attract the interest of archaeologists and fans of the mysteries of ancient history. The medieval chair from Trossingen is a rare and valuable example of early medieval furniture. This wooden chair was found in the burial chamber of a man in Trossingen, Germany, and dates back to around 580 AD, made from maple and ash. It demonstrates a high level of craftsmanship by ancient artisans. The chair is remarkably well preserved because the burial was located in a marshy area, which created favorable conditions for preventing the decomposition of organic materials. The wood, although it has darkened over time, has preserved its structure, allowing archaeologists to study its construction and manufacturing style. The find is part of the collection at the Baden-Württemberg Archaeological Museum in Constance, Germany. 100,000 ancient coins. In Maebashi, Japan, archaeologists discovered a unique find. Over 100,000 ancient coins, including Chinese Banliang coins, dated to 175 BC. These coins, found during the construction of a factory, cover the period from the 7th to the 13th centuries. They were tied into bundles of 100 pieces using straw ropes called sashi. This place, located not far from the ruins of the Qin Dynasty Palace, was chosen to hide the treasures, probably because of the approaching war. A total of 1,060 sashi bundles were found, some of which contained up to 1,000 coins. Analysis of 334 coins from the hoard revealed 44 different types of currency covering the period from the Western Han Dynasty to the Southern Song Dynasty. The earliest Banliang coin has a diameter of 2.3 centimeters to a square hole in the center and a thickness of 1 emicenter. The latest coin dates back to 1265, indicating that the hoard was hidden during the Kamakura period. UFO in 1665. In April 1665, 6 fishermen witnessed a mysterious aerial phenomenon, a dogfight in the sky over the Baltic Sea near Stralsund. As soon as evening came, a dark gray disk appeared in the sky. The 1665 UFO exhibition reconstructs how this event was presented in the media of that time and shows that many of the communication strategies used to cover unexplained celestial phenomena are even more relevant today. The central event of this exhibition was the aerial battle of April 8, 1665. Fishermen saw flocks of birds turn into ships that fought in the sky. Ghostly figures bustled on the decks. Soon, a flat disk appeared over St. Nicholas Church, and the fishermen fled in fear. The next day, they complained of trembling and body aches. The media of that time spread the news instantly, suggesting various theories about its origin. In an era when religion played a huge role, people believed that the phenomenon was a sign sent by God. At that time, no one knew that the fishermen might have witnessed an atmospheric reflection of a naval battle beyond the horizon. The UFO in Roswell, the beginning of the government conspiracy. On June 24, 1947, a pilot flying over the Cascade Mountains in Washington state was searching for a crashed military plane. At some point, he noticed 9 crescent-shaped objects flying in formation at an altitude of over 3 kilometers, at a speed of 1,900 km/h. At that time, it seemed unreal. Kenneth Arnold was the first to describe unidentified flying objects as saucers. The media found out about this and came up with the phrase flying saucer, which later became an integral part of humanity's greatest modern mystery. 2 weeks later, on July 7, 1947, a ranch owner in Roswell contacted the sheriff to report strange debris. He had heard the story about flying saucers and assumed that one of them might have crashed during the recent storm. After receiving the debris, the sheriff handed it over to the Army Air Base. Soon, the military arrived at the ranch, which set off a series of astonishing events. Within a day, the authorities completely changed their stance on the discovery, stating that the journalists had made a mistake and that the incident had nothing to do with UFOs. In 1978, the topic of the UFO crash in Roswell became popular again. A former military man admitted that the logical explanations were just a cover-up and the photos were staged. He claimed that the real wreckage was replaced to hide the existence of aliens. The search participants knew it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, but couldn't reveal it to others. Curious scientists found several more retired military men, and all of them confirmed the fact of the UFO crash. Skeptics believed that they lied for a fee, but no one has yet been able to either refute or confirm that the U.S. government hid the crashed alien spacecraft. Whether to believe in UFOs or not is up to each person. Some facts about extraterrestrial civilization still remain unquestionable, forcing us to accept a new reality. At the same time, a UFO hunter from the Pentagon and former head of the Office for Investigating Anomalous Phenomena gave an interview that cannot be ignored. Sean Kirkpatrick admitted that his office did not find any real evidence regarding extraterrestrial origin. In addition, he denies government conspiracies aimed at hiding evidence of the existence of extraterrestrials. At the same time, U.S. Air Force veteran David Grush gave a sensational interview. He confirmed that he participated in the concealment of alien bodies and extraterrestrial transport vehicles. Which of them is speaking sincerely and who is afraid to admit the truth? Time will tell. The Cocknow Stone, this massive stone located near the city of Clydebank in Scotland, is covered with intricate carvings consisting of spirals, circles, and lines. The stone is still considered one of the most mysterious archaeological finds in Scotland. After conducting numerous analyses, scientists confirmed that the stone is about 5,000 years old. The patterns on the Cocknow Stone have attracted attention because of their uniqueness and complexity. Some researchers interpret these symbols as an ancient map of the starry sky, suggesting the stone may have been used for astronomical purposes. In their opinion, the spirals and circles may represent stars, planets, or even the trajectories of celestial bodies. This could have helped the ancient inhabitants of Scotland track the movement of celestial bodies. The stone could also have served as a place for rituals or ceremonies related to the worship of gods or nature spirits. However, there is still no consensus about what role this artifact played in the lives of ancient people. Supporters of the paleo-contact theory suggest that the patterns on the Koshno stone may be evidence of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. In their opinion, the complexity of the symbolism in the images may indicate interaction with a more advanced culture, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. The underworld on the fresco. We will travel to Italy, where scientists have used cutting-edge technology to look behind the curtain of ancient Etruscan frescoes. In laboratories, scientists use special equipment to scan the paintings in different ranges of light. This is called the method of hyperspectral extraction with multiple illumination, or simply MSI. It sounds complicated, but actually it's just a method. It's a super version of our normal vision. Hidden details invisible to the naked eye were discovered in these ancient paintings. They were so well hidden that we didn't even suspect their existence. One of the most amazing discoveries happened in the tomb of the monkey. On one of the frescoes, details of the underworld emerged with stones and trees surrounding bodies of water. The main character of this story is not a monkey at all, but a long-lost human carrying some kind of object. Can you imagine? All these years the hero was hiding in plain sight. We just couldn't see him. Such discoveries turn our understanding of the past upside down and make us wonder how many more hidden heroes on ancient frescoes are still waiting for their moment to appear before us again. Thanks to the courage of archaeologists who are not afraid to go against the majority opinion, we can witness these mysterious discoveries. A fortress in the middle of the desert. The ruins of the ancient Berber Ksar, lost in an ocean of sand dunes, are an amazing architectural monument and a testament to the lives of people who mastered the desert lands. This Kisar, located in Algeria, was hidden under layers of sand for a long time, which allowed it to be well preserved to this day. Ksar is a traditional fortified village typical of the North African region. It was built to protect its inhabitants and their property from raids and the harsh conditions of the desert. The fortifications include massive walls and towers, which not only protected the inhabitants, but also served as shelter from the scorching sun. The date of the Ksar's construction remains unknown, which adds to its mystery. Modern technologies such as satellite imaging make it possible to study the ruins and their surroundings from above, offering a new perspective on the architectural heritage of the Berbers. The ancient pharaoh was a mutant. Scientists claim that the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten could have been a hybrid of a human and an alien. Stuart Fleischmann, an associate professor of comparative genomics at the Swiss University in Cairo, and his team conducted a 7-year study of the DNA of 9 ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Their results could overturn our understanding of ancient history. They used the polymerase chain reaction method for analysis to obtain an accurate genetic profile of the pharaohs. Nothing unusual was found in 8 of the DNA samples, but the DNA of Akhenaten, who lived in the 14th century BC, showed significant anomalies. One of the genes, CXPAC5, which is responsible for the growth of the cerebral cortex, was especially active in Akhenaten. This may explain his enlarged skull, a characteristic feature depicted in ancient Egyptian statues. The increased activity of this gene suggests that Akhenaten had a more developed brain. Scientists cannot explain how such a mutation occurred, since similar changes in the human brain are unknown to science. This suggests that ancient Egyptians may have been subjected to genetic manipulation by extraterrestrial beings. Additional data, such as the analysis of Akhenaten's bone tissue, also shows its unusual density. This may indicate enhanced brain development. Fleischmann claims that the results were thoroughly verified and may serve as evidence that ancient Egyptians may have had contact with extraterrestrial civilizations.
Цивилизациями.
Out-of-place artifact. Out-of-place artifacts are finds that do not fit at all into traditional ideas about our history. They're found in earth layers and places where they shouldn't be. The most amazing thing is that based on their age and level of complexity, such objects simply could not have been created in times when, as it is believed, no advanced technologies existed. Mainstream science often declares such finds to be fakes or simply ignores them, but there are more and more of them, and it's no longer possible to turn a blind eye. Let's take, for example, the mysterious Baigong metal pipes discovered in China. These pipes go deep into the ground and stretch all the way to the shores of lakes. Their age is estimated at 150,000 years. The composition of the pipes, which excludes iron and other minerals, along with their ancient origin, baffles researchers. Some believe that this is the result of natural processes, but others think that the pipes could be traces of a highly advanced civilization, or even left by extraterrestrials. Nevertheless, the forged nail, which is over 350 million years old, remains a mystery. This nail was found in a rock layer dating back to the Paleozoic era, a time when humans did not yet exist, let alone metalworking. How such a nail could end up in ancient rocks is still being debated. Some scientists suggest tectonic processes, while others talk about the involvement of previously unknown civilizations. In Provence, fossilized tools were found that could have been made by humans or even from ancient trees. If this is true, such discoveries indicate the existence of intelligent beings who had woodworking skills long before the first known civilizations appeared. Other discoveries are even stranger. In Antarctica, the Altani antenna was found, which at first appeared to be a high-tech object. However, it was later discovered that it was just a sea sponge. Nevertheless, the very fact of such a misconception shows how wrong we can be when faced with the inexplicable. The tracks by the Paluxy River are another mystery. Giant humanoid footprints were found next to dinosaur tracks. This discovery calls into question our understanding of the chronology of life on Earth. After all, according to the theory of evolution, dinosaurs and humans never coexisted. There are other examples as well. The anomaly on Mount Ararat, which is associated with Noah's Ark, the clay figurine from Nampa whose age is unclear, or the Wolfsegg iron, which is considered a remnant of a prehistoric era. We shouldn't forget about the Tucson artifacts either. This is a collection of 31 lead objects found in 1924 near Picture Rocks, Arizona. These artifacts include crosses, swords, and other items engraved with inscriptions in Latin and Hebrew. There are also images resembling medieval symbols. It was originally assumed that they were created by ancient Mediterranean civilizations that supposedly crossed the Atlantic in the 1st century. However, later many scientists considered them to be a hoax, created in modern times to mislead researchers. In any case, each of these artifacts calls our understanding of the past into question and opens the door to new theories and research. Perhaps our history is much more amazing and mysterious than we can imagine. Bosnian pyramids. In Bosnia, mysterious structures have been discovered that, according to some researchers, may be ancient constructions about 12,000 years old. These massive formations first attracted the attention of archaeologists and enthusiasts in the early 2000s when Bosnian archaeologist and businessman Samir Osmanagic pointed them out. He claims that the pyramids were created by an ancient civilization and that they are much older than the well-known pyramids in Egypt. The complex features several pyramid-shaped structures, such as the pyramids of the Sun, Moon, and Dragon. The Pyramid of the Sun is the largest and reaches a height of about 220 meters, making it one of the tallest pyramids in the world. Osmanagic and his team conducted numerous studies, including ground-penetrating radar scans and excavations, claiming to have found traces of ancient tunnels and stone blocks that indicate a man-made origin. However, not all scientists agree with this point of view. Many geologists and archaeologists claim that these structures are natural formations created by geological processes. They point out that the geological structure of the region and the shape of the pyramids can be explained by natural forces such as erosion and tectonic movements. They remain one of the most mysterious and debated discoveries in modern archaeology. A cube-shaped UFO scared a pilot. In February 2020, an aircraft on a routine flight in Colombia encountered an unusual airborne object. While at an altitude of over 9 kilometers, the captain took out his mobile phone to film a metallic object moving in a straight line. The object, which looked like a cube, had nothing in common with a balloon or any other objects capable of being at such an altitude. The distance from the plane to the object has not been determined, so its estimated diameter is between 3 and 5 meters. Scientists suggest that extraterrestrial civilizations are afraid of direct confrontation with humanity and are not ready for direct contact. The object caught on camera may be similar to a scout that ended up on Earth to observe us from a distance. Perhaps the aliens are studying us and slowly preparing to visit our planet. Is that so? Time will tell. However, the experts who evaluated the video could not come to a consensus. The object has no wings and leaves no trail behind, which means it is not a man-made device. Skeptics suggest that the metallic cube is just a balloon that expanded at an altitude of over 9 kilometers. But physicists are convinced that the low temperature would not have allowed it to rise that high. The mystical stones of Jalisco, Piedras Grabadas de Cuellos de Jalisco, are mysterious stones found in the Mexican state of Jalisco. These stones have attracted the attention of researchers and UFO enthusiasts because of the images that, according to some, indicate contact between ancient civilizations and extraterrestrial beings. The stones depict people interacting with figures resembling aliens, as well as objects similar to modern representations of UFOs. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory claim that these stones could be important evidence that an ancient culture had contact with extraterrestrial beings, or at least perceive such contacts within their myths and legends. Despite their controversial nature and lack of scientific evidence, the stones continue to attract interest as a possible artifact reflecting the interaction between mythology and reality in ancient cultures. They still attract the interest of antiquities enthusiasts, raising questions about how our ancestors might have perceived or interpreted unusual phenomena. Parasite eggs that are 200 million years old. Modern parasites are known to play a key role in ecosystems. However, paleontologists from Mahasaracham University in Thailand have made a breakthrough in understanding their historical presence. By examining the fossilized excrement of ancient animals, they found ancient parasites in them, including roundworms called ascarids. This discovery followed a report about the revival of an ancient worm from the Siberian permafrost by Russian scientists. Working with coprolites about 200 million years old, scientists discovered structures corresponding to 5 types of parasites. Interest in these fossils arose thanks to local residents of Thailand, who considered them lucky charms because of their unusual shape. This is the first known example of finding parasites in a terrestrial vertebrate from the late Triassic period in Asia. It is also one of the few records of preserved ascarid eggs in the coprolites of ancient animals. These parasites were found in the excrement, apparently belonging to a phytosaur or another crocodile-like reptile from the Triassic period. The discovery enhances our understanding of how parasites interacted with their hosts in ancient times. Alien ecosystem. On the remote Puna de Atacama Plateau, in the Atacama Desert, located at an altitude of over 3,650 meters. On the border of Argentina and Chile, archaeologists found a unique ecosystem with crystal-clear lagoons surrounded by salt flats. In this region, it rarely rains, and the sun creates extreme conditions. In April last year, geologist Brian Hynek and microbiologist Maria Farias, while studying satellite images, discovered these lagoons and went there. Despite the difficulty of the journey, the researchers discovered 12 lagoons with a total area of 10 hectares, surrounded by barren mountains. Underwater, there were green hills, microbial communities forming massive fossils. These formations resemble stromatolites from the Archean era of Earth, when there was almost no oxygen in the atmosphere. Hynek believes that this lagoon may be one of the best examples of early signs of life on Earth. In the Atacama lagoons, the formations consist mainly of gypsum, a mineral often found in fossil stromatolites. Hynek noted that the conditions in the lagoon resemble those of ancient Earth. Lithium will be extracted in this area, so the unique ecosystem is likely to be destroyed. In 2015, a bright meteor streaked across the sky over Kanchanaburi, Thailand, illuminating the sky with green and orange flashes. Since then, there have been rumors that its fragments scattered around the area. In fact, meteors have visited Thailand more than once in recent years, leaving behind black stones that people attribute magical powers to. The most famous story comes from Phathalung province. A married couple, Siripu Vadon, discovered strange boulders weighing up to 20 kilograms in a palm plantation. At night, lightning struck the garden, and in the morning the couple saw burning pits and mysterious fragments inside them. After bringing the gift from the sky home, they soon felt a surge of energy and noticed that they argued less. Curious neighbors noticed unusual patterns on the surface of the stones, taking them for lucky lottery numbers. In Thailand, this is a popular pastime. Although they didn't win big, their belief in the special properties only grew stronger. Now, people often come to the owners to absorb cosmic energy, and some are even thinking about making money from such relics. This cult of celestial stones shows how a natural phenomenon can turn into a mystical one, reflecting the longing for miracles and the desire to connect with the mysteries of the cosmos. The Singapore Stone. In front of you is a huge sandstone rock that is several centuries old. It stood at the mouth of the Singapore River like a steadfast guardian of time. You can see strange symbols on it. This is an inscription that has never been deciphered. It may have been made in Old Javanese or Sanskrit. Perhaps it was commissioned by some influential Sumatran. This stone is even associated with the legendary strongman of the 14th century named Badang. They say he threw the stone into the river, and later stone columns were erected in his honor. But what happened to it next? In 1843, the stone was blown up to widen the passage at the river mouth. Only fragments of it remain, and one of them is now in the National Museum of Singapore as a national treasure. This stone is not just an old piece of sandstone, it's a mystery that scientists are trying to solve. The secret held by this inscription will tell us more about the past and the people who lived in ancient times. Perhaps technology from the future will help us decipher it. The Iraqi Ghost. Not long ago, a video published by the famous American mythologist and director Jeremy Corbell went viral on the internet. The so-called Iraqi Ghost, which has the shape of a jellyfish, sparked intense discussion online and attracted the attention of both scientists and staunch skeptics. In the published footage, you can see an object in the shape of a sphere with dangling tentacles smoothly flying over an American military base located in Iraq without changing its speed. The source claims that after this, the ghost descended into a body of water and stayed there for 17 minutes, after which it suddenly took off at a 45-degree angle from the ground and, gaining incredible speed, disappeared from sight. Unfortunately, the footage only shows the flyover above the base, but the soldiers did not notice the object, which indicates that it moved silently. Another interesting feature is the change in color of the UFO, which becomes gray, then white, and then black. All this indicates a change in the object's temperature, which feels perfectly comfortable both in water and on land. Scientists suggest that the UFO is the result of the activities of an underwater terrestrial civilization, about which humanity still knows nothing. Ufologists are convinced that this video confirms the existence of aliens using objects of extraterrestrial origin. Critics are convinced that the Iraqi ghost is just balloons flying closely together. It is impossible to confirm or refute their statements, since the recording was not made during the object's submersion in water. Notably, this is not the first UFO to have a jellyfish shape. In 1977, the well-known Petrozavodsk phenomenon occurred, when 100 people saw an unidentified object resembling a sea monster. A similar object was spotted in São Paulo in 2000, causing shock among the passionate Brazilians. It is also worth mentioning that the footage was recorded in 2018, but the US government carefully concealed this information, fearing public exposure. The mystery of the flying stones. India has always been shrouded in mysteries and enigmas. In any corner of the country, you can encounter something amazing and incredible. Many people come here for new experiences, to discover unknown spiritual possibilities within themselves. Once you visited this amazing country, it's impossible to forget it. One of the mysteries of India is the levitating stones in the small village of Shivapur, which is located 200 kilometers from Bombay. Near the local temple, there are several boulders that weigh over 50 kilograms. According to the locals, these stones can rise into the air. To lift the first heavier stone, 11 men are required. They must stand around it and say certain words. After that, the stone begins to levitate, and it can be supported with just one finger. The smaller boulder requires 9 men to lift it. There is also a third stone weighing over 60 kilograms, which can only be lifted by the temple monks. The origin of these stones is mysterious. Some believe that they were sent by the gods. Others think that they broke off from a nearby rock. A local resident who takes care of the temple claims that the stones occasionally split, and he replaces them with new ones by breaking them off from the rock. But even the new stones are preserved. Some scholars suggest that ancient people were able to move objects with the power of their minds, like during the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. Perhaps the knowledge of levitation was lost, but sometimes it resurfaces in places like Shivapur. Interestingly, in the last century, Edward Litzkalnin, an immigrant from Latvia, used similar methods to build his coral castle in Florida, which only confirms the existence of such knowledge. These unexplained phenomena support the hypothesis of extraterrestrial influence on ancient civilizations, suggesting that some technologies or methods could have been passed on to humanity by beings from other worlds. Golden necklaces in an unusual place. At the end of August in the province of Asturias, Spain, Sergio Narciandi accidentally discovered a unique gold ornament while working with a pipeline in the municipality of Cavandi. At first glance, Sergio realized the value of the find. In front of him was an ancient torch. The torch symbolized high social status. Soon, archaeologists arrived at the site of the discovery. These artifacts, as experts claimed, could become the key to understanding the Iron Age, revealing the secrets of pre-Roman societies. These ornaments will help us gain deeper insight into the cultural, technological, and social aspects of that era. By estimating the age of the ornament, scientists suggest that it is about 2,500 years old. Torques are traditionally made from precious materials and are most often associated with Celtic and Germanic nobility. The high level of craftsmanship inherent in these ancient ornaments opens up new horizons for the study of artifacts from this period. A gruesome child's death. In China's Henan province, archaeologists found the remains of a child who lived 8,000 years ago. Judging by the fragments of leg and rib bones, the age at the time of death was 8 to 10 years old. Remarkably, there are marks in 6 places on the leg bones, presumably made by tools. Why the ancient inhabitants performed such a procedure is unknown. Perhaps it was a ritual related to the child's illness, or it was preparing the bones to make some kind of objects. The remains were discovered at the Jiahu site, which belongs to the Neolithic Pili Gang culture. During the excavations, hundreds of graves were found here, along with many artifacts from bone flutes to traces of a fermented drink made from rice, honey, and plant ingredients. In total, scientists studied 109 individuals, but such notches were found only on this child. Signs of inflammation were also detected on the bone, processes that could indicate chronic diseases. It is difficult for paleopathologists to make an exact diagnosis. Scientists suggest that the sick child might have received special attention. It is possible that the special incisions were believed to relieve him from suffering in the afterlife. However, this remains only a hypothesis, since the skull, vertebrae, and other parts of the skeleton have not been preserved, and it is difficult to determine the real reason for such a practice. Geoglyphs depicting cats. Archaeologists in Peru have discovered 29 previously unknown geoglyphs. These ancient earth drawings found near the city of Ica depict cats and human figures. Researchers note that the geoglyphs date back to the period between 300 BC and 100 AD, which corresponds to the time of the Paracas and Nazca cultures. With the help of drones, archaeologists managed to spot 10 geoglyphs with cat figures measuring 17 by 12 meters, and 8 images of cats measuring 30 by the remaining images depict anthropomorphic figures. Scientists believe that for the ancient inhabitants of Paracas, cats were associated with water and fertility, and they worshipped them as deities. In 2020, a cat figure 37 meters long and over 2,000 years old was found on the Nazca Plateau. As you can see, cats were loved and valued not only in ancient Egypt. A strange object hovered in the sky for several hours. Come back and subscribe. According to Islamic scholars, there are verses in the Holy Quran that indirectly suggest the existence of extraterrestrial life. Perhaps that is why more and more reports are emerging that residents of Islamic countries, such as Pakistan, are witnessing UFOs. On January 25, 2022, in Islamabad, a local resident who was watching the sunset from the roof of his house noticed a mysterious black object hovering in the sky. The unidentified object, which looked more like a flying rock, remained motionless for several hours. Over time, the object took on a triangular shape. Notably, the flying object neither emitted nor reflected light, remaining completely still at an altitude of about 500 meters. A local resident was shocked and watched the object with interest, recording it on his mobile phone, as he had never seen anything like it before. Experts who watched the video are skeptical about the finding. Pakistan is a country with strong military capabilities, actively developing unmanned aerial vehicles. It is likely that what was seen was a loitering munition or a drone performing a test flight. Despite the fact that the discovery was made in 2022, the video is of rather poor quality. This does not allow experts to reach a definitive conclusion, leaving a chance for the mysterious object to be of extraterrestrial origin. Ceramic figurines from Mexico. In 1944, thousands of ceramic figurines were discovered in the Mexican city of Acámbaro, which have since sparked heated debates among scientists. These figurines depict people, animals, and even dinosaurs, which led to speculation about possible contact between ancient civilizations and dinosaurs, or the existence of a civilization that possessed incredible knowledge about the ancient world. Some supporters of alternative theories even put forward hypotheses about extraterrestrial origin or influence. However, the authenticity of the Acámbaro figurines is seriously doubted by most scientists. Many researchers believe that these artifacts may be modern forgeries, created to attract attention or for commercial gain. The lack of reliable dating and archaeological context increases skepticism about their authenticity. Another set of ancient footprints. Archaeologists in South Africa have discovered footprints that could change our understanding of the daily life of prehistoric people. The tracks discovered at Kleikrantz may date from 79,000 to 148,000 years ago. They have features that suggest people of that era used footwear. Why did scientists conclude that it was actually footwear? The absence of toe prints and the presence of clear edges indicate that the person was not barefoot. The tracks may have belonged to ancient hominids of average height. Researchers recreated the scenario using sandals of the sand people to see if they would leave similar tracks. The results were convincing. The sandals created similar tracks, especially on wet sands. This conclusion may seem trivial, but it has profound historical implications. In those times, a traumatic wound on the foot could become a deadly threat. Footwear could serve not only as protection from sharp objects, but also as a precaution against environmental dangers. However, despite all the evidence, scientists are in no hurry to claim that it was actually footwear, considering the complexity of interpreting footprints and the lack of actual samples of such ancient shoes. A chariot drawn by sheep. In the northwest of China, not far from the famous Terracotta Army, archaeologists discovered a chariot drawn by sheep, which is about 2,000 years old. This find is a rare artifact, as similar chariots are mentioned in ancient Chinese texts. The remains were found in the western tomb of the mausoleum of Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, located near the city of Xi'an, Shanxi province. The archaeologist who led the excavation reported that the chariot's structure did not survive due to its long stay in the ground, but the remains of 6 sheep with harnessing devices were found at the site. Chariots drawn by sheep are a rarity in Chinese history. The emergence of such vehicles is associated with the legend of Emperor Wu Sima of the Western Jin dynasty, who, according to legend, traveled around his palace in such a chariot. This legend gave rise to the Chinese phrase, seeking fortune in a sheep-drawn carriage, implying the selection of a wife from a harem of 10,000 beauties. During the research, a 4-wheeled wooden chariot with an umbrella, bronze artifacts related to chariots and horses, as well as iron tools and bronze weapons, were also discovered. The homeland of aliens has been discovered. Scientists believe that the exoplanet LHS 1140bi may have an atmosphere suitable for breathing and an ocean of liquid water. This planet was discovered back in 2014, but new research has revealed many secrets. LHS 1140b is called the Eye Planet because of its unusual appearance. It is located 48 light-years from Earth in the constellation Cetus and is 7 times heavier than our planet. Research using NASA's telescope has confirmed the presence of water and a nitrogen-rich atmosphere similar to Earth's. However, the local sun is a tiny star, only 1/5 the size of our sun. It emits energy mainly in the red and infrared regions of the spectrum, so the planet is likely shrouded in twilight. If there is vegetation there, it is most likely black in color to absorb as much light as possible. Recent studies have shown that the planet could either be a mini Neptune made of gas or a mega-Earth covered in water. Scientists tend to believe that this planet is a water world with a rocky core. It is also assumed that it has a dense atmosphere and a stable climate. Astronomer Ryan McDonald from the University of Michigan noted that this is the first time we've seen a hint of an atmosphere on a rocky, potentially habitable planet. We may have found evidence of air there. The clearest photograph of a UFO. On September 4, 1971, in the northern highlands of Costa Rica, photographer Sergio Luise was conducting aerial photography of Lake Cote for the National Geographic Institute. Using a special cartographic camera that took a photo every 13 seconds, he was doing his job, unaware that one of the shots would turn out to be one of a kind. Upon returning to the laboratory, Sergio checked the pictures and noticed a mysterious round metallic object in the right part of one of the photographs. It is noteworthy that the object, resembling a flying saucer, was not found in either the previous or the subsequent frames. For some time, the National Geographic Institute tried to conceal the discovery, forbidding Sergio and his colleagues from talking about the incident. The metallic flying object, over 18 meters in diameter, was kept under strict secrecy, but in 1979, the photograph appeared in an Argentine newspaper and was analyzed by experts. Soon, Costa Rica declared the photograph as official confirmation of the existence of UFOs. Despite years of study and debates among researchers in this field, no one has been able to say what this object is. Skeptics suggested that the object on the right side is some kind of debris or a spot that got onto the film during the photo processing. In 2021, a family friend was able to obtain the original photograph in order to scan it using modern technology. This made it possible to digitize the photo, making it clearer and more detailed. Thanks to this, skeptics saw the saucer-shaped object in higher resolution. The updated photo made it possible to dismiss a number of mundane assumptions and theories, since it was not a smudge or a chip on the camera lens. So what was it? Share your guesses in the comments. Crocodile stone. Now let's head to the amazing mountains of Laos, where the ancient ruins of the Wat Phu Temple are hidden. Among the ruins of this temple, archaeologists found a very strange thing, a huge boulder with carvings resembling a crocodile. But what's even more interesting is that there's a hollow the size of a person. Many people believe that this stone was used as an altar for human sacrifices. If that's true, then such rituals could have taken place back in the times of Chinla, the ancient empire that ruled these lands. According to legends, every year, when the frangipani petals began to fall, the king of Chinla prayed to the spirits of the mountains and offered rice wine to the 2 most beautiful girls. Then the girls were sacrificed to the gods. Such sacrifices are described in the 6th century history of Sui. And all this time, the community far from the big cities preserved this story, which suggests its possible authenticity. However, it is unknown what role the crocodile rock played in these rituals. This unique carving makes it even more mysterious. Nothing like this has been found in the ruins of Laos or Cambodia. And here is the question. If the crocodile rock was not used for sacrifices, then what was it for? The remarkable battle hammer from Saxony is a unique example of Renaissance weapon craftsmanship. Its design is astonishing. The battle hammer combines several elements: a hammer, an axe, a trident, a bec de corbin, and a retractable spike. The spike is activated by turning the handle, which makes the design not only functional, but also quite sophisticated from an engineering standpoint. According to a surviving document, this weapon was acquired in July 1593 for the Saxon court. The price was 30 thalers, and the creator of the piece was the renowned master Balthasar Hacker, whose works were distinguished by exceptional complexity and aesthetics. It is possible that the hammer was intended for Christian II of Saxony, who was only 10 years old at the time, or for the regent Friedrich Wilhelm I. The weapon has been preserved in excellent condition and is now on display at the Dresden Armory. The hammer is 79 cm long and weighs almost 2.5 kilos. The greatest mystery in the world, off the coast of the Japanese island of Yonaguni, underwater ruins of an ancient city have been discovered, estimated to be 10,000 years old. This complex, which resembles a pyramid, a castle, temples, an arch, and a stadium, is connected by roads. In 2007, marine biologist Masaki Kimura described the main structure as a monolithic stepped pyramid 25 meters high. He suggested that the structures were built by the Jomon people, who lived on these islands 14,000 years ago. However, Professor Robert Schoch from Boston University expressed the opinion that the Yonaguni Monument is a natural geological formation. It has been 37 years since the Japanese Atlantis was first discovered in 1986, but its origin is still shrouded in mystery. Kimura proposed a theory that it was part of the continent of Mu, lost due to a catastrophe. He also found stone images, including an underwater sphinx. Seismologist Toru Uchi from Kobe University supported Kimura's hypothesis, rejecting suggestions that the structures were of natural origin. However, Professor Schoch maintains his position, stating that the structure is not man-made and its features are the result of natural processes. So, the depths of the sea near Yonaguni continue to hold the mystery of these amazing structures, remaining a subject of discussion and research among scientists. Personal sacrifice. During excavations at Huacacao in Yehu, northern Peru, archaeologists encountered a striking practice. Teenagers were sacrificed along with their high-ranking relatives. Genetic analysis of the remains, which are more than 1,500 years old, showed that the young man and woman were the son and niece of a representative of the Moche, the Lady of Kao. Moreover, the girl's father turned out to be one of the noblewoman's brothers, who was also buried in the same tomb. Unlike the public ritual sacrifices typical for the Moche, here, the victims were strangled as part of a private ceremony in honor of the noblewoman. Scientists suggest that such a ritual could have helped strengthen power or family ties, but the exact motives remain a mystery. Artifacts found with the bodies indicate the high status of the deceased, and strangulation may have been considered an honorable way to send her companion to the afterlife. For the Mochica, whose temple tombs often contain evidence of sacrifices, this is a rare case of kin sacrifices. Alien Archives of the Vatican. Ufologist Steve Bassett claims that the Catholic Church is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life in its archives and urges the Pope to reveal this information. In his opinion, the Church has long known about contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations, but is deliberately hiding it. Bassett provides several pieces of evidence. Firstly, he noticed strange images in medieval paintings, which, in his opinion, indicate the influence of UFOs. Hares fighting with knights or trumpeters using their bodies in unusual ways, in his opinion, hint at alien intervention. Secondly, in 2011, Vatican astronomer Guy Consolmagno jokingly said that the Church is ready to baptize aliens if any are found. Bassett took this as a hint at the existence of a secret Vatican program preparing for contact with extraterrestrial beings. The third piece of evidence the ufologist cites is a statement by former U.S. intelligence officer David Grush, who said that in 1933, Italy discovered a UFO, and Pope Pius XII handed it over to the United States. Bassett urges the public to demand that the Vatican reveal these artifacts. World Archives, Supernatural Destruction of Mohenjo-Daro. In 1922, an officer of the Archaeological Survey of India, together with a Buddhist monk, went to an area that turned out to be a religious monument. Instead of mounds of mud and stones in the Sindh region, which is now part of modern-day Pakistan, an entire Bronze Age city was discovered, with a grid of streets, a drainage system, and flush toilets. The city was part of the Harappan civilization, which reached its peak 5,000 years ago and ceased to exist around 1900 BC. The Mound of the Dead is the legacy of one of the oldest civilizations. Mohenjo-Daro's inhabitants were not inferior to those of Egypt or ancient Mesopotamia. At one time, about 35,000 people lived in this region, but archaeologists have managed to find only 43 skeletons that have survived to this day. The disappearance of the city was mysterious, but in 1977, a British researcher discovered evidence of a powerful explosion in the Harappan civilization. Melted stones and calcined skeletons suggest that the inhabitants of Mohenjo-Daro died instantly. In 2014, a doctor of mineralogy conducted a series of analyses and tests which makes it possible to claim connections between the Arab civilization and aliens. This is shown not just by the advanced development of the local inhabitants, but also by the fact that they were burned at temperatures of several thousand degrees. There are no volcanoes here, and there were no technologies capable of reaching such temperatures. The Glozal Tablet. In 1924, clay tablets with mysterious symbols and images were discovered in the small village of Glozal in France, which sparked heated debates in the scientific community. These artifacts, found by a young farmer named Emile Frat, turned out to be so unusual that it was impossible to link them to any known ancient civilization. The tablets contain symbols and images resembling ancient scripts, but their origin and meaning remain unclear. Some researchers have hypothesized that the Glozal tablets could be evidence of a lost or unknown culture that developed in this region thousands of years ago. Another, more radical theory suggests that these tablets could be traces of extraterrestrial intervention, although there is very little evidence for this. However, the tablets' authenticity is still questioned. Since their discovery, scientists have conducted numerous studies to determine whether they are genuine, ancient artifacts or forgeries. To this day, neither version has been definitively confirmed, and the Glozal tablets continue to be one of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. A rare statue of Coil. In Mexico, a unique statue was found. This is Coil, the Mayan god of lightning and fertility. Archaeologists found it quite recently when they were building a railway for the Maya train tourist route. The construction of this railway is expected to be completed by 2024. The statue of Coil is part of an urn that was found near one of the sections of the railway. Coil is often depicted with a beast-like head, large eyes, a long snout, and snake-like legs that symbolize lightning. Interestingly, images of Coil are found on Mayan reliefs and in ancient books, but so far, only 3 statues of this god have been discovered. They are located in Guatemala in the city of Tikal, so this discovery in Mexico is truly a remarkable piam. Specialists searching for ancient artifacts in the road construction area have already made many discoveries. So far, they have found more than 896,000 pottery items, 491 bones, and almost 49,000 structures or foundations. So the discovery of the Coil statue is not only interesting, but also a very important event. It allows scientists to learn more about the Maya and their ancient deity. Who knows what other secrets the ancient Maya are still hiding from us? Stromatolites are some of the oldest evidence of life on Earth. Their age is estimated to be about 3.5 billion years. These ancient formations consist of thin layers of sedimentary rock, which were created by colonies of cyanobacteria, primitive microorganisms capable of photosynthesis. Stromatolites can be found in various parts of the world, but some of the most famous and well-preserved examples are located in Australia, especially in the Shark Bay area. The cyanobacteria that created the stromatolites played a key role in changing the chemical composition of Earth's atmosphere by releasing oxygen as a result of photosynthesis. This led to the so-called oxygen catastrophe, which, although it caused the mass extinction of anaerobic organisms, created conditions for the development of more complex forms of life, including animals and plants. Stromatolites, therefore, are considered the oxygen factories of ancient times. The friendship between the inhabitants of ancient Egypt and aliens. The connection between ancient Egypt and UFOs is a subject of interest for many researchers and enthusiasts of paranormal phenomena. Many facts remain speculation, but there are also details that defy logical explanation. In some temples and pyramids, you can find drawings that resemble modern representations of UFOs. The most famous example is the image on the walls of the Temple of Ramses II in Abu Simbel. On one of the walls, researchers discovered an image of a flying saucer with a rounded shape and strange aerodynamic characteristics. Among other pieces of evidence, there are numerous papyrus records dedicated to UFOs. One of them translates as, "And a fiery circle appeared in the sky. It had no head, but a terrible stench came from its mouth. Its body was huge and it was voiceless." A bit scary, isn't it? Similar records also belong to a chronicler who lived 3,500 years ago. He claimed that the sky was covered with fiery discs, but the pharaoh did not lose his nerve and did not allow the warriors to flee, after which the flying objects disappeared in an instant. Concepts such as winged shields and fiery discs are repeatedly found in ancient Egyptian written religious sources. Iron was hardly mined in ancient Egypt and was a rare metal, but the writings often mention iron thrones, scepters, and clothing intended for the pharaoh. The sun god was dressed in metal attire and sat on a throne of iron and fire, which also sounds quite strange. Special attention should be given to the Abydos hieroglyph discovered in the Memorial Temple Hall of Pharaoh Seti II. Here, ufologists noticed a helicopter, a submarine, a glider, and an airship. For a long time, the photos of the discovery were considered to be fake, but soon their authenticity was confirmed. There were suggestions that the inhabitants of ancient Egypt were able to look into the future. Other scientists believed that aliens traveled through time and simply told them about the events of the 20th century. Skeptics categorically reject such ideas, believing that the images were the result of two hieroglyphic inscriptions overlapping after the plaster between them was damaged. There is another, no less astonishing drawing, where a flying disc is dropping an aerial bomb, but critics also have their own logical explanation for this. Golden jewelry from space among the sparkling gold and treasures of Bronze Age Iberia. Two modest-looking objects may turn out to be the most valuable of all. A corroded bracelet and a rusty hemispherical object decorated with gold turned out to be more than just metal artifacts. Researchers discovered that they were forged not from metal mined from the earth, but from meteorite iron that fell from the sky. This discovery was published in January and proves that metalworking technology in Iberia more than 3,000 years ago was much more advanced than previously thought. The so-called treasure of Villena, a collection of 66 gold objects, was discovered in 1963 in Alicante, Spain. It is considered one of the rarest examples of Bronze Age jewelry on the Iberian Peninsula and in all of Europe. However, the true age of the collection was difficult to determine, mainly because of two artifacts: a hemispherical object, probably part of a scepter or a sword hilt, and a bracelet. These items had an iron-like appearance, which raised questions among archaeologists. The Iron Age on the Iberian Peninsula began only around 850 BC, whereas the gold materials and treasures date back to the period between 1500 and 1200 BC. However, as it turned out, the iron did not necessarily have to be mined from ores found on Earth. Some Bronze Age artifacts, including the famous iron dagger of Tutankhamun, were made from meteoritic iron, which was highly valued in ancient times. After conducting mass spectrometric analysis on the artifacts, the results showed that both items were made from meteoritic iron, which solved the mystery of their origin. Rate the video with a thumbs up or down and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Goodbye, everyone.